Plato's Republic is his greatest book. It talks about big ideas like truth, justice, and how to teach people well. Long ago and now, it has helped many writers and thinkers. Plato mixes smart thoughts with stories and pictures. He shows how cities and people can be good and how learning and rules fit together. The Republic starts with Socrates talking to friends like Cephalus, Polemarchus, Thrasymachus, Glaucon, and Adeimantus. They ask, "What is justice?" Cephalus says justice means being honest and having enough money so you can keep your promises. But Thrasymachus shouts that justice is what rulers want. Glaucon and Adeimantus challenge Socrates to prove that justice is good by itself, not just for rewards. To explain, Socrates builds an imaginary city. At first it is small, just people helping each other. Then it grows into a bigger city with artists, nurses, farmers, and guards. These guards are trained in music, gym, and strong habits. They share everything, live simply, and work only for the city. Philosophers are the best rulers because they love knowledge and truth. They even tell a noble lie so everyone feels like they belong. Some people are gold, some silver, some iron, but all must do their job. Plato also thinks about education, music, stories, and religion. He wants poems and plays to teach what is true and kind. Bad stories can harm children, so only good stories should be told. He teaches that the soul has parts like reason, courage, and desire, and they must work together. Justice means each part does its job without fighting. This idea works for cities and people. In books 5 to 7, Plato talks about how philosophers learn about the good, like a sun that helps us see truth. He uses pictures like the cave story and the ship to show how people can learn better. He also shows how cities can become worse. First the perfect city, then a city ruled by proud leaders, then democracy, and finally tyranny. The Republic ends by saying justice and truth are more important than just being happy or rich. When people do their duty, they become better. Plato shaped many ideas about fairness, education, and leadership. His Republic is still read today because it mixes stories, jokes, and big thinking to show how life could be better. The story is about asking whether there is one kind of goodness or many. Socrates says a person is like a city with 3 parts of the soul: reason, thinking, spirit, courage, anger, and desire, wants. Each part has its own job, and justice happens when they all work together. Fairness in a person is like fairness in a city. When the lower parts disobey, everyone gets sick inside, like a body with a cold. He explains that knowledge, courage, and self-control are virtues, and bad habits come from wrong actions. He also says true philosophers love truth, hate lies, and keep learning. They should be rulers because they understand what is really good. Ordinary people often choose leaders who just want power or pleasure, so cities get worse over time. Plato then imagines an ideal city where guardians, rulers and soldiers live together, share everything, and women and men train equally. Children are raised by the state, so everyone feels like brothers and sisters. Brave warriors are honored, and the best people lead. He says no state can be perfect unless kings become philosophers, or philosophers become rulers, which is very rare. He tells a story about a cave. People chained in darkness only see shadows and think they are real. If one person is freed and sees the sun, he learns the truth. When he goes back, others don't believe him. This shows learning is like moving from shadows to real light, with the sun representing the idea of good. Education should start with music, stories, and sports, then move to math, geometry, astronomy, and finally dialectic, deep thinking. Students should train their minds step by step so they can see the highest truth. The best rulers are tested in body and mind, serve in the world, then return to study before leading. Not all cities stay good. Socrates describes how a perfect state becomes timocracy, honor-loving, then oligarchy, rich rule, then democracy, too much freedom, and finally tyranny, a cruel ruler. Each time, people choose the wrong things. money, pleasure, or power, and the state becomes weaker. In the end, Plato shows that real happiness comes from justice, where reason guides the soul and people respect truth and work together. Life goes better when everyone learns to choose what is good, not just what feels fun. Plato studies old number ideas and thinks number 6 is perfect. He loves 216 because it is 6 times 6 times 6, 3 times cubed plus 4 times 5 cubed, and linked to a special triangle and music. He also mixes in other numbers like 400 divided by 9 and 8,000 divided by 27, saying they make different harmonies and help explain births and old stories. He doesn't claim everything is true, but he feels number ideas help understand the world. In Book 9, Plato introduces the tyrant. He describes how bad wants grow when reason sleeps. A young boy raised with strict money rules falls into fun-loving circles. He becomes a cruel tyrant who obeys angry feelings, scares his people, and hates justice. Plato asks whether a king who listens to reason or a tyrant ruled by desires is happier. The tyrant is miserable, tense, and not free. Plato says justice, truth, and kind habits make people rich inside. Plato then talks about the soul and joy. He says the soul has parts like a calm man, a brave lion, and wild heads. Justice trains the lion and soothes the wild parts. Reason gives the truest joy, while strong feelings or greed give only shadows. He even uses the number 729, 9 times 9 times 9, to show how much better a good person's life is compared to a bad person's. He warns against bad habits like pride and laziness, and says education should teach children to control themselves. Riches don't count if a person loses his soul. Wise people value truth, keep their bodies strong, and keep money in balance to avoid damage. In Book 10, Plato criticizes poetry because it copies things and stirs weak feelings instead of teaching truth. He fears poetry that makes people sad or rude and wants it to follow law and reason. He still loves truth, and he says the soul never dies, so justice is best, even if life is hard. He tells the story of Air, who dies in battle, comes back to life, and explains how souls are judged. Just souls go up with a good mark. Bad ones go down with a mark on their backs. Souls rest, then choose new lives by drawing lots. Plato says people should choose wisely, learning right from wrong. Many souls regret bad choices later. Shows souls choosing kings, animals, or normal people. Odysseus chooses an ordinary life and is happy. After choosing, they drink from the river of forgetfulness. Some forget everything, but is stopped. Thunder and earthquakes send souls back to their bodies. Tells us the story so people will believe the soul never dies and will stay just. Plato's attack on poets comes from his age. He knew many poets had become weak or praised cruel rulers. He worried actors copied many characters and lost themselves. He also disliked how tyrants used poetry to rule people. While Plato might have admired great artists, he still believed art could damage the soul if it stirred the wrong feelings. He saw poetry and philosophy as rivals. Poetry tied to the senses and feelings, philosophy to ideas. Later thinkers would disagree, saying art can help explore feelings and ideas. Plato didn't want to drive poets away forever. He wanted good images for children and truth in art. He believed art should lead the soul toward reason, not away from it. He also knew art could show deep truths about love and beauty. Still, he campaigned against fake or greedy writers, wanting healthy art that raises the soul. The Republic, Plato's big book about a perfect state, mixes Greek ideas, Pythagorean rules, and dreams about the future. He admired Sparta's strength and shared foods, but also valued Athens' love of beauty. He borrowed Pythagorean ideas like music, numbers, and a circle of very smart men guiding others. Yet Plato knew his perfect city was only a model, not something that could happen right away. He spoke of noble lies and visions of a better world, showing he was both dreaming and thinking carefully. Plato's ideas felt strange, because he suggested guardians share everything, goods, wives, and children, He thought private property could harm unity. Aristotle disagreed, but Plato only offered these things as a way for the best philosophers to rule together. He also said women should learn and work like men. He believed both men and women have gifts, even if nature makes them a little different. He wanted women to do more than stay at home, giving them training and jobs. He even thought of sharing children throughout the city to keep everyone loyal to the state rather than to one family. Modern readers find this shocking because we value families, love, and personal ties more than Plato did. Still, Plato showed that modern life already faced problems. Poor families having too many children, marriages where people didn't think about the future, and cities where young people might do wrong without good guidance. He wanted the state to help guide people, not just leave things to chance. Education was key for Plato. He wanted children to hear good stories, learn simple songs, exercise their bodies, and grow in both mind and spirit. As they grew, they should study numbers, math, and higher ideas. Eventually, true philosophers would study the idea of good, a bright light guiding all right thinking. Learning never stops. Plato said the greatest life is one of thinking. Plato also worried that rulers and teachers should keep learning. He wanted people to stay awake to new ideas instead of clinging to old ways. He believed states should grow slowly, not by chance. He knew history likes to repeat itself, with cities rising and falling, and people keeping old laws because they believed they came from the gods. Yet Plato encouraged thoughtful changes, not sudden chaos. After Plato, others wrote their own visions, such as Cicero, Augustine More, Bacon, Campanella, and others. Each writer carried Plato's dream forward in their own way, some full of law, some full of faith, some full of hope. Plato's great idea was to keep dreaming of better people and better places. Ideals help us act right, even when the world is messy. He believed God, or the idea of good, was the highest goal. The many stories, myths, poems, or religions show part of that bright goal. Plato wanted us to look toward it, do justice, love truth, and imagine a better world, even while living in this one. Socrates visits Piraeus with Glaucon to see a new festival honoring the goddess Bendis. On their way home, Polemarchus invites them to stay and meet his family. They go to Cephalus's house, where an old man sits near a sacrifice. Cephalus is calm and happy to see Socrates. He says growing old is easier when you stop chasing strong desires, and that wealth brings peace only if it helps you be honest. When Socrates asks if justice is always telling the truth and paying debts, Cephalus says yes, but they realize that rule does not work if giving back weapons would hurt a friend. So justice must be more than that. Polemarchus says Simonides taught that justice means giving good to friends and harm to enemies. Socrates asks whether we always know who is truly good or bad. Since we can be wrong, he argues justice can't harm anyone, it must only help. They agree that justice is a good thing, but they still haven't defined it clearly. Then Thrasymachus bursts in angrily and demands real answers. He claims justice is just what the stronger people want. The rulers make the laws that serve their own interests, so obeying laws means obeying the stronger. Socrates asks if rulers can make mistakes, and if they do, people still must obey them. That would make justice sometimes hurt the rulers, which contradicts Thrasymachus. Thrasymachus insists rulers never make mistakes when they truly rule, so their laws always serve them. Socrates then says rulers, like doctors or pilots, should take care of those they guide, not themselves. The job of ruling is to benefit the people, the weaker ones. Thrasymachus calls this nonsense and says injustice is better than justice, because unfair people get rich, respected, and powerful, while fair people suffer. Socrates responds that unfair people fight among themselves and hurt everyone, so they cannot stay happy. Justice keeps people together and makes them stronger. Just people are wiser and happier because they use the soul's best part well, while unjust people hurt themselves and others. Thrasymachus angrily leaves, but Adeimantus and Glaucon want to keep talking. Glaucon says most people believe justice is only good because of rewards or fear of punishment. He imagines two people, one completely just but seen as bad, one completely unjust but seen as good. He argues people only follow laws because they must, and if they could get away with wrong things, they would. He wants Socrates to show that justice is good for the soul, not just for reputation. Adeimantus adds that people praise justice for wealth or honors, but they still think bad people live better. Even stories about God's rewards or punishments are confusing. They ask Socrates to explain justice for itself, without talking about honors. Socrates says he will try, but they must think carefully. He suggests starting with a whole city because it is easier to see justice there. He builds an imaginary city where people divide the work. Farmers grow food, builders make houses, weavers make clothes, shoemakers make shoes, and merchants trade. Each person does the job they are best at, so the city runs smoothly. Then they ask who guards the city. They agree that guardians must not only be strong, but also brave, quick, and caring, gentle to friends and fierce to enemies. That seems hard, so Socrates says they must remember the start of their story and keep thinking harder. Socrates and his friends are trying to build a city where the brave guardians are also wise thinkers. They see how dogs act kindly with friends and growl at strangers. It makes them think the best guards should love learning and know when people are good or bad. To shape these guardians, they decide to teach music and stories before gym training. But not all stories are safe. Only good tales that teach respect for gods, parents, and friends are allowed. They must remove lies about gods fighting, pretending, hurting people, or sending scary dreams. God is always good, never changing, never tricking anyone. Kids should never hear gross myths about the underworld, crying heroes, or wild laughter. That would make them fear death or think wicked behavior is okay. Poetry and drama must be careful too. Guardians should learn from storytellers who only copy noble, brave, and calm people. No one should copy rude, mad, weak, or cruel characters. They should avoid silly pantomimes where one actor plays too many parts. Music must stay simple, using just Dorian and Phrygian tones and the lyre or harp, so the songs stay brave and steady. Strange rhythms and soft harmonies can make people weak, so they are banned. Good rhythm and words should come from the soul's mood, showing what is noble. Every art, the songs, the buildings, even the clothes, should show grace and beauty, because ugly, wild things harm the soul. Gym training also stays simple. The guards train like soldiers, eating plain roasted meat, staying awake, and avoiding fancy, lazy routines. They do not get drunk, and they do not chase big muscles. A healthy mind strengthens the body. If someone hurts or gets sick, only quick, helpful medicine is used, like the wise doctors in Homer's stories. The doctors should help mostly healthy people. Weak, lazy people who cannot serve the city should not be kept alive forever. To pick the best leaders, they watch who truly loves the city. They test them through hard work, danger, and clever tricks. The ones who stay brave, honest, and calm become guards. Others are set aside. The city tells a myth that people come from the earth with different metals mixed in. Gold for rulers, silver for helpers, bronze for farmers. So everyone knows their job and respects each other. This story may seem strange, but it teaches unity. Guards live simply. They share houses, food, and pay. They do not own private wealth or stores or wear jewelry. Their real treasure is the honor of serving the city, so they won't become greedy or turn against the people. When critics say this life is too poor and sad, Socrates answers that guards don't need shiny things. Their happiness comes from standing strong for the city, not from more toys or comfort. They talk about building a state where everyone works together so everyone can be happy. The guardians, helpers, and workers each have a job, and justice means doing your own work without taking over others' jobs. If rich people get lazy or poor people stay hungry, the work gets worse. So guardians must keep the people trained, share things fairly, and keep the music and gym lessons steady. Good education, courage, temperance, and wisdom keep the state strong, and justice is the habit of keeping every part in order. They compare the state to a person's soul. The thinking part should lead, the brave part helps, and the desires follow rules. When every part does its job, the person is calm and fair. They also talk about how women can share the same education and duties as men, if their nature lets them. Strong helpers, careful laws, and steady arts keep the city just, healthy, and happy. The leaders ask if some people are better than others. They agree guardians trained by the city plan should be the best, and their wives and children should be the best too. Guardians train together, share food, work, and even war duties. Women and men do similar jobs, though women do lighter work. They believe music and training help make them good. The city's law says guardian wives and children are shared. No one knows who their real parents are. The rulers secretly choose the best couples, arrange marriages at festivals, and make sure good people have babies. Brave heroes get more chances with women. Babies grow up together, call the same people father or mother, and all friends become brothers and sisters. This way, there are no mine and not mine, so everyone feels like one big family. Guardians also share property, so there's no fighting over money or houses. They only own themselves, live simply, and support each other like real brothers and sisters. War is handled carefully. Soldiers shouldn't take enemy land or hurt Greek friends. Greek-on-Greek fights are called discord, not war, and they should stop before hurting homes. Only enemies from outside are true war. Brave fighters get praise, special food, and honor. If they die heroically, their spirits guard the city. And comes the big question: can this work? Socrates says the goal was to imagine a perfect city to understand justice, even if it might not exist. He wants to show what would make a real city better. The most important change is letting lovers of truth, the philosophers, rule. Philosophers love knowledge, fairness, bravery, truth, and self-control. They are calm, not greedy, and they hate lies. They also have good memories and learn quickly. People who only chase sound or beauty have opinions, not knowledge. True knowledge is like seeing the real thing, not just copies. Most people don't respect philosophers because they prefer crowds, power, and quick fun. The best thinkers get hurt by bad teaching or proud friends. Socrates tells a story of a ship whose sailors fight for control, even though only the real captain understands sailing. It teaches that true thinkers are treated badly, not because they're wrong, but because others don't want them to rule. But communities would be better if they listened to true philosophers, even if it seems strange. Socrates ends by saying the world will only be happy when some philosophers care enough to lead and keep looking for truth. Long ago, I imagined a perfect ruler made by a powerful force. My friend agreed our plan for the country was hard, but still the best. We decided philosophers should lead because they love truth and do not want to fight the people. Instead, they should be kind and show everyone how good they are. When people see philosophers love them, they stop being angry or jealous. We made a plan. Rulers must love their country, stay brave, honest, and strong. If someone failed, we would remove him. If someone stayed pure and steady, we would honor him. The very best guard must be a philosopher. These people should learn lots of things, not just sports, so they can understand what is true. We said they must reach the highest knowledge, the idea of the good, which makes everything else valuable. The good is like the sun. It makes the mind see truth, just like light helps the eyes see. I told the story of people in a dark cave. They could only see shadows and thought those shadows were real. One person was freed and saw the bright world outside. He felt sad for those still in the cave, but he went back to help them anyway, even though they laughed at him. This story reminds us that learning is like turning the whole soul toward truth. Those who see the good must return and help others, even though it is hard. The people who rule must move their minds from changing things to the things that stay the same. They must learn math, geometry, music, astronomy, and especially dialectic, the art of asking deep questions. Math teaches them to think about one and many, helping them move from many senses to real being. Geometry helps them understand what never changes, and astronomy makes them look up and keep searching for the truly beautiful. Dialectic helps find the good itself. These smart people must be tested carefully. They should learn for many years, and only those who stay true, brave, and honest should become rulers. We also said children should learn gently. They should keep exercising and learning about battle and music until age 20. After that, the best ones study harder, including dialectic. Then, from age 30 to 50, they serve as soldiers and do real work to prove they stay strong and steady. After 50, the true philosophers can finally look at the good, plan the right rules, and teach new rulers. They should not want power for themselves. Instead, they should rule out of duty and love for the people. Our rulers and warriors would live together, sharing homes and food, without owning private property. That kept them from becoming selfish. We believed the best city needs rulers who do not seek honors or money, just justice and goodness. Only people who see the good can make a happy society, but even the best city can change. If people start loving honor and war too much, they become timocratic, fighting for pride. Then they might focus on money instead, becoming oligarchs, where only rich people rule. Those cities forget about justice, split into rich and poor, and grow full of greed and fights. We compared these cities to matching people, a proud soldier, a money-loving oligarch, and so on. In the end, we want to know who is happiest, the fair person whose soul loves truth, or the unjust person who chases shadows. So we agreed. If a philosopher-king is born, he will teach the kids early, make the country happy, and lead with wisdom. Socrates and his friend talk about how different kinds of governments shape people. They start with oligarchy, where rich people rule and love money too much. The rulers keep working poor people poor. Those poor people feel angry and want a revolution. Too much greed makes the city fall apart. Some people use fear to stay honest, but they really just worry about losing their stuff. Then comes democracy, where everyone wants freedom. People can do whatever they like, and no one has to work unless they want to. That sounds nice, but it can get messy. People stop listening to laws, fathers act like children, and even animals act wild because everyone feels free. Too much freedom makes people mean and lazy. They chase every pleasure they see and never focus. That's how the democratic man lives. He tries many things, desires every kind of pleasure, and never has steady goals. He listens to feelings instead of wise advice, and he thinks all pleasures are the same. Chaos opens the door to tyranny. When people fight and feel unsafe, they pick a protector who promises to help. The protector uses their anger, becomes powerful, kills or banishes honest people, and listens only to bad men. He uses money to pay guards and tricks people into giving more power. Soon he becomes a cruel tyrant. He is not happy, he is scared of losing power, and he hurts everyone. He even takes money from his own family. Tyranny is the worst kind of slavery. Too much freedom turned into too much control. Socrates then explains the best kind of person and city. A good city is careful and fair, ruled by wise, brave, and self-controlled people. The same parts live inside every person: reason, truth, spirit, honor, and appetite, desires. When reason rules, the person is just and happy. When the lower parts rule, the person becomes like a tyrant, unhappy, and more like an animal. They also talk about poetry. Poets and painters copy what things look like, but not the truth itself. People can be tricked by a beautiful story, so poets should only tell stories that help people be good. Sad or exciting scenes that stir up weak emotions can make people lose control and forget to use reason. Finally, they talk about the soul. The soul loves truth, and it lives forever. If you live justly and love wisdom, the soul grows stronger. Even after death, just souls are rewarded, and bad souls are punished. A brave hero named saw what happens after death.
Souls choose new lives carefully, and the good ones remember to do better next time.
The message is clear. Choose truth, justice, and wisdom, and you will be happy now and later.